I know, Hester. Let's try something a little simpler for you. Let's try one of the court cases I had in your courtroom. Now, keep in mind, I've been in your courtroom 27 times and haven't had a public defender yet, because it's full throttle corruption out there, America, and we'll get to that later. But let's get to the one case that you can do something about, Mike Hester, and we'll start little, because I don't even know what most of my charges are in your county, since I just get brought into the jail for any fucking reason anytime a cop sees me, since I have over 6,000 stop and frisks by Riverside Police Department. And isn't that funny? The sheriff's department right across the river here where I stay, where my residence is, I only have one stop and frisk. I got 6,112 in your fucking district over there. Isn't that something? That funny. I'm a complete fucking criminal over there. I cross a river and I'm nobody. Oh wait, but this is a sheriff's department that started all this shit, ain't it? Well, I'll give you a couple of things to work on here, Hesterin. First off, my fucking driver's license, which was suspended by you guys. Well, not technically, but it was suspended the day the Cops show that I was on came out. And fucking at the same exact time that the original broadcast premiere of the show I'm on came out. You know, the show that the sheriff's department, your sheriff's department, put me on without my permission. And then told me if I didn't sign that document that they'd destroy my life. Here I am living in a tent 22 years later. What do you know? What happened the day I was fucking filmed by that TV show? Well, I was on my way to work, which is what I used to do for a living. You know, work. You know, I was engaged. I was going to work. I was just living a normal life on my way to work when I saw that guy bleeding in the parking lot out there. So, you know, I got three things for you to do, Mike Hester. First off, tell me what happened to the guy who called 911. If you watch my videos, you'll hear his name is Wallace. The reporting party is Wallace. Why did they find him beat to death in his house 2 days later, Mike Hester? Why? Why was the guy who fucking happened to have 5 security cameras pointed at that parking lot where they filmed that episode, why was he found beaten to death 2 days later? And then why was he accidentally cremated by your sheriff/coroner here in Riverside? Why don't you get to the bottom of that one? And then when you get sick of that, find out why my license is still suspended by the state of Arizona for a ticket I got in 1998 for a fucking $40 fix-it ticket. You can't suspend somebody's license on a fix-it ticket. However, that license was suspended the same exact time the show broadcast premiere, 9 p.m. on a Friday, the same time I was put on a terrorist no-fly list, the same time my license was suspended, the same time the warrants went out for my arrest. Why don't you work on that, huh, Hester? And then figure out why I got charged for a felony one time in your courtroom just a few years back. One of the last times I was in there. For a bicycle I was riding that I had a receipt for in my pocket when I was arrested, but how are you supposed to get that out? It's not like a public defender is going to go across the street and get something that'll prove your innocence. Come on, they're instructed not to do anything for you. I'll get to that one later also. But why don't you figure out why I was charged with the price of a satellite tracking chip that they claim costs $3,800. $3,800. There ain't never been a time in history when a satellite tracking device cost that much. Not even when they first came out in the 1970s did they cost that much. Give me a fucking break. The bike that I was accused of stealing is a Schwinn Varsity. Has a retail manufacturer suggested retail price of $149. Is that a felony? I don't think so, Hesterin. But that's the kind of chicken shit, fucking bullshit that your county gets coming away with every time you step into a court building. You know, cops are full of shit. They're all fucking a bunch of fucking retards to begin with. That's how you guys pick them. And then fucking you just got to prove that you're corrupt on top of proving that you're a retard. And bam, you got a gun and a badge. Bam. I don't know about you, Hester, but I still think you downloaded your degree for your law fucking, your bar fucking passing from the internet somewhere. I really don't think you have the brains to be doing what you're doing. But why don't you figure out how I got charged with a felony in that case when the actual fact was that I stole a bicycle, supposedly. And even if I did steal that bicycle, how the fuck are you going to charge me for a felony when the bike's retail value is less than $150? But see, these are the kinds of people that you oversee. It's one of your district attorneys that did that to me. And you know what she told me when I talked to her? Because I don't get a public defender. I get a public defender that walks up to me and asks me about green bologna in the kitchen and then walks over to the DA and then brings me a deal to sign. She said, you're not allowed to fight this. And I go, well, I need to talk to her. And I get down there and she comes up to me and I says, what the fuck? She goes, you know you're not allowed to fight this. That's what I get told every time I'm in court. You know you're not allowed to fight this. My first case in court was the day that the fucking show premiered. That's when the warrants were issued for my arrest. Within 48 hours, I was put into a jail cell in San Bernardino. My case there was so fucking corrupt that the district attorney, Kathy Brown, quit her job over my case. And by the way, never practiced law again because the courts are so fucking corrupt that despite the fact that she was only standing up to do the right thing, which was not double jeopardy me, she's been blacklisted from every court in America because all the courts are full of shit. All the judges are full of shit. They're all corrupt. This is a fact, America. We're going to get into more details on this on the next video. But anyways, the 2 guys who arrested me in that case went to prison for framing me. What the fuck? The 2 guys who arrested me, Officers Perez and Weber from Rialto PD, were fucking sent to prison before I was ever sentenced. Every member of the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department made an appearance in my case to tell the judge I was the wrong guy, because the car they accused me of stealing not only had a blue book value of $200, a 1981 Toyota pickup truck. I years later found out, because of course they didn't tell me any details or nothing. I didn't have no public defender there either. The judge just kept telling me if I didn't sign for 5, I was going to get 10, and I would just shake my head no. And I'm not signing shit. I'm not a fucking retard. And I never spoke a word in that court case ever until my sentencing. Internal Affairs came twice. Every single member of the San Bernardino's Internal Affairs Department came to that case. Turned out the car I was accused of stealing was a bait car. A bait car. I ain't on the video anywhere. The Internal Affairs came to tell the judge so. And I was not on the fucking other vehicle at the edge of the parking lot that was watching that bait vehicle from afar. I wasn't on that one either. And then when they went to the so-called witness's house and dusted her entire apartment for fingerprints, they found none of mine. They told the judge that they believe his witness's testimony to be false because they got every part of my description wrong, and they advised my immediate release. And the judge just told them, get the fuck out of my courtroom. And they left with their tails between their legs. They did it twice, and in the long run, every single member of San Bernardino's Sheriff's Department made an appearance in my case. I then went to sentencing. 4.5 months on fighting this shit. They starved me like a motherfucker while I'm in jail that first time. So by the time I get to jail, I have scotomas and I'm blind in my centers of vision. So I can't physically identify anybody who fucked me in all these court cases. Scotomas are something you get as a result of starvation. I have celiac disease already. And then when you put me in a fucking jail where I don't get to eat, and even if I did, it's nothing but a bunch of wheat products, well, I'm pretty much starving to death. I get scotomas at the drop of a hat. I get psychedelic centers in my vision. Anybody who's had scotomas before knows what that's like. But anyways, long story short, I go to my sentencing, I walk in there, and everybody as we're walking into the court building is going, oh, fuck, man, because I'm having to feel my way in there. Everybody in there knew my thing, what was going on with me. I got pretty popular while I was in there because I was writing a book about my life while I was in there, and it was getting a hell of a lot of notice. Even the captain of Glen Helen came down and wanted to read it. Every deputy in that fucking jail read a copy of my book, and then they stole it from me when I got out. But again, that's another story. Ronald Hansen was our sentencing judge that day, and as we walked into the courtroom, everybody's going, oh man, shit, Slim, you might as well start doing push-ups because you're going to prison now. This guy's never let anybody off, ever. Every single person that's been in front of this guy, and at the time he had been on the bench for, I think it was 26 years, they said every single person that ever went in front of this guy went to prison. Every single one. He calls me up, just after lunch and says, these are his exact words. Mr. Delahunty, I have 2 questions for you. First off, he says, I want to let you know that I had the opportunity, and I'm glad I did, to read the details of your case on my lunch break. He goes, I have 2 questions for you, Mr. Delahunty. I said, what's that, Your Honor? Now, keep in mind, I'm about 105 pounds standing in front of him. He says, first off, what the fuck are you still doing in jail? Because he saw, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, too, that the day they said I stole this car originally, I was at work. At the police impound yard. Okay, on video surveillance. That deputy also came in addition to every single member of the Internal Affairs Department, and it's all documented in my first case there. I still was in jail. Okay, this is how corrupt the court systems are here in America. And all of this was done to kiss John Langley's ass because every one of these dirtbag cops wants to be on television so bad that they got no problem fucking an innocent person over. They got no problem with it. No problem. No cop in America is a good cop. Let's just get that out of the way right now. They stopped hiring good guys back in 1983, and there'll never be another good cop again. The drug war took care of all that shit for us. But anyways, I'm standing in front of Judge Hansen. He asks me what I'm still doing in jail. I go, look, Your Honor, I was on the cops television show, and I refused to sign the waiver, and they told me they were going to fuck my life up if I didn't sign it, and here I am. That's what I'm doing here. And he said, Mr. Delahunty, are they feeding you? And I looked down at myself. I'm 6'5". I looked down at myself, and I said, what do you think? And he apologized for the court, swore up and down that he fucking was appalled, and that I would be leaving here in a matter of hours. And he said, but I got one. He goes, but you're not going to like this. And I thought, oh, fuck, man, what is it now? God damn. He says, but I got to throw you back into the mouth of the lion because the San Bernardino Sheriff's has to handle your release, and there's nothing I can do about this. But I've asked this deputy, and I'm paraphrasing on the name here, Deputy Williams, and I've instructed this deputy not to go home from work tonight until you're a free man on the streets. Do you understand, Mr. Delahanty? I said, yes, Your Honor. And then as I was walking out of the courtroom, at the very edge of the courtroom, he stopped me and he said, Mr. Delahanty. I said, yes, Your Honor. He said, one last thing. I go, what's that, Your Honor? He says, get the fuck out of San Bernardino and don't ever come back. I said, no shit, Your Honor, and thank you very much. I was released, and 4 days later, I was rearrested when my own dad ratted me out because he's a fucking piece of dog shit. Ratted me out so I could get rearrested, and I was put back into the courthouse. See, that's how they did it. Riverside Police Department arrested me off of Tyler Street in Banbury, and they drove me all the way to Colton and handed me back to the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department without no fucking paperwork, without no fucking going through the jail and getting registered and nothing. They just drove me over and they're handing me straight back to the devil. Because this is Cowboy County, don't you know? Ding! Woohoo! Everybody got our stick shooters. Woohoo! I mean, look at what they did last year when they shot that cop here in Jurupa Valley. How 600 motherfuckers responded. 600 cops left their posts, committed dereliction of duty. Come on, everybody, go down there and get our six shooter. Cab on show. What? Oh, we got a job to do? What do you mean, terrorists? Where? Oh, God, that's where I was supposed to be at work. I got to get back to work, Billy. Hurry, quick. You know, what the fuck were we going to do if there was a terrorist event that day? What if the San Bernardino terrorist event happened that day? All those people would have been gunned down. In my opinion, every cop who responded to Jurupa Valley when that officer got shot should be fired. Every one of them. You committed dereliction of duty. You're supposed to be protecting people somewhere else, and you're over here playing fucking hillbilly cowboy. Get the fuck out of here, man. That fucking judge that released me in 34 years on the bench, that motherfucker finally retired. Ronald Hansen, 34 years on the bench, he finally retires, and I'm the only person he ever didn't send to prison, and I'm the only person he released. The only one. That's how corrupt my fucking cases are, America. And Mr. Hestrin, I know, you got nothing to do with San Bernardino. That's what you all say over here. But the documents I'm about to release here, if you don't get your fucking head out of your ass and give me my life back, for example, my fucking driver's license, those documents are going to say otherwise. Because these are all DEA documents. They're all titled by the DEA. They're all co-ops between who? San Bernardino and Riverside. And they're all confidential informants documents. And if you don't fucking give me my goddamn life back here pretty soon, I'm going to just WikiLeak all those motherfuckers. Because I don't know what else to do with them. I've been trying to get you guys for fucking 15 years to do the right thing and stop that leak. And you guys don't give a shit. The FBI don't give a shit. The fucking Department of Homeland Security don't give a shit. The Internal Affairs at San Bernardino and Riverside, they don't give a shit. Riverside Police Department don't give a shit. Riverside Sheriffs don't give a shit. I've written Chad Biancho, the fucking professional arsonist. Woo-hoo! And he don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. I've written your office many times about this shit. And I've documented all of it, motherfucker. Documented all of it. Everybody in America is going to see that fucking every cop in America not only is a fucking piece of shit cop, that fucking nothing but a fucking bad seed, but they're going to see that every one of you and all your agencies had the chance to do the right thing about this, and you chose to do nothing. Because unlike the promises you made all those people for giving up those testimonies and putting their lives at risk, you guys don't give a shit about none of them. So fuck you. And by the way, those documents I've been finding, it's at 5155 Lamart Street in Canyon Crest. They're currently not showing up there. And I'm sorry for all you witnesses. I don't mean to give you sleepless nights and shit, but you have no idea how much danger you're in. If you have a case and you're a witness, and this is a case where that crossed county lines and there's drugs involved in it, anywhere with anybody in there, your case is in this file now. And they're throwing your case files into the trash with nothing but a Sharpie marker through your name. Your address is visible, all your case information. There's tens of thousands of these motherfuckers that have been coming up there and showing up for fucking years. And I'm sick of babysitting this shit for these guys. And you know what, you guys, you RPD, every time that you guys stopped me in Canyon Crest, you never did look in my bag of recyclables, not once. And that's where the documents were every time. You know, it's kind of ironic to me that I'm going all the way up there, fucking 15-mile bicycle ride, you know, while I'm being harassed like a motherfucker and stopped 20 times a day, I'm wiping your asses while I do it. You know, who's a bad guy here, man? Really? I mean, look at the two chances I've had to prove myself so far. One was televised. I did the right thing there, didn't I? Goddamn. And then I find all these fucking confidential informants documents that I got offered $5,000 a page for while I was in jail last time. Did I sell any of them? Fuck no. because I'm not a piece of dog shit. But I can't get you guys to do the right thing, so fuck it. I'm releasing this information very soon if you don't fucking get in contact with me and fucking start working on remedying my situation. Because I ain't putting up with your fucking bullshit in this fucking county anymore. You better pack your bags, fucking Chad Biancho and Mr. Hestron, because you guys are getting out the fuck of my county. Well, I'm sick of this. We are all sick of this shit. You guys are full of shit. You guys are all corrupt. And by the way, America, do you ever stop to wonder why you don't get jury duty notices anymore? When was the last time you got a jury duty notice? I know when I turned 18, I got 7 of them. The next year, I got 5 of them, and I got 6 a year after that. I don't remember after that because they just came and went. But, you know, fucking, I've always got several of them every year. And I bet you haven't got one in 5 years, probably. You know, here's a reason why. In 1983, they started hiring pieces of dog shit to be cops because good cops that went by the book, they just refused to do the things that are required to get the arrest records, to get enough people arrested to get the federal government's drug war money. You know, you had to be a despicable piece of shit. You got to arrest innocent people and put them behind bars to be able to get those numbers up, to get that extra cash. Now, all the dirty cops are just like, hey, well, hell, that's our job. It's modern policing now. Woohoo! Ding, ding. You know, but the truth of the matter is they're just being pieces of shit. All the dirty cops got all the bad press. All the good cops were fighting like a motherfucker. It was World War III in the police departments. And how do I know? Well, because I come from a family of cops. And my uncle was the worst fucking cop that the city ever saw, according to the Press Enterprise. Of course, you can't find it in the newspapers anymore because it's all been redacted. Cops are pretty good at cleaning up their messes. But my uncle, they called him Mad Dog Delahunty. He was a fucking no joke. He was a big, angry son of a bitch, and they used him like a motherfucker. There was World War III in those police departments in 83. And the last of those good guys that they hired was in 1983 because good guys that went by the books, they weren't doing what the police departments needed to get that extra money. The extra payroll, the surplus military equipment, the overtime, all the things that the federal government were offering as part of the drug war. So fast forward, how many years? 20 for a fucking pension. 20 years. So go from 1983 to 2003. That's when the last good guys walked out of the courtrooms. Now, I don't care where you live in America. Go call your local jury services and ask them, hey, how many jury duty notices did you guys send out in 2002? And how many just sent out in 2003? And how many sent out in 2004? And go look at the fucking stark contrast in those numbers. It's scary. You no longer get to defend yourself in court anymore, America. Believe me, this is what you're going to get told if you're arrested in Riverside County. First off, you're not going to get your rights read to you. They don't do that shit anymore. Okay, so there's your first. Second, you think you're going to get into the jail and you're going to get a phone call. The phones are down. The phones are always down. There goes your second misconception. Third, you think that when you do get to court, you're going to get to speak to a judge. You're not. Fourth, you think you're going to get to enter a plea, guilty or not guilty. You think somebody's going to talk to you about your case. None of these things happen. Eventually, it'll get to a case where they're just going to go, okay, here's what you're charged with. It'll be your third or fourth court visit. You'll be down for probably almost 2 months. They'll tell you, all right, here's what you got. You can either sign guilty or you can sign not guilty, and then we'll forge your name on the time waiver and we'll drag our feet on your case for 2 years. You'll get 50 dry runs to court before you ever see a fucking court date. And we will get our 2 years out of you. So what's it going to be? That's the way they do everybody these days. And that's why, America, you don't get jury duty notices anymore. And people like Mike Hestron got no problems fucking pursuing this fucking whole line of fucking bullshit. This corrupt ass fucking, get out from underneath Chad Bianco's desk, Hestron. For Christ's sake, you ain't got to do that. Man, have some self-respect. All right, stand up, do the right thing. I know that day that you passed your law degree, you probably had all kinds of hopes and aspirations for helping the downtrodden, and you probably sound like a civil rights leader. And I had a dream, God, and they were going to go down here, and then all of a sudden they told you, hey, fuck that, don't help these people at all. The more people you send to jail, the better you're going to make the whole judicial system, because we are all making a fat fucking profit off of fucking locking people up. Because look at the people who are prison guards and cops. Like, what the fuck are these guys going to do for a living if they ain't got that? Come on. What are you? There's no circus to sweep up after out there, right? Come on. So, Mike Hestron, wake up, do something, or it's just going to get worse every fucking time. Tomorrow there'll be another video with more addresses, a couple of cops' addresses on there for helping out with the video that you fucking threw out to some thugs in my neighborhood. And, it'll be fun. We're going to help you lose your next re-election. Have a good day.